Hey you guys, what's going on? I promise to actually try to just connect with you more and be grateful for moments like this, because if I don't stop to just talk and share and really just put him in the camera, what I realize is a lot of other people will sometimes hire him to like speak on their shows and do stuff, but what that ends up doing is it ends up sometimes just really making him available for other people's schedules and needs. So the first thing that we both wanted to be aware of in the month of August, especially because it's our son's birthday month and it's a huge month of transition, is to say, okay, if we're getting signs from the universe to slow down or rethink how we're supposed to move, let's maybe take that to heart and really think about how we're moving. So, for example, right before Amour's birthday, Aseer got a cold and he never gets sick. It's been his like first cold in like 10 years. So it's expected, but what I wanted to express was that a lot of people, I'm sure, are experiencing regular flu-like symptoms or just a cold and, you know, are thinking that it might be something deeper. The flu still exists, you know, and a regular
That's all
cold.
that does exist. Influenza A, influenza B. That's it. Everything else is capped.
And a lot of you know, it's, oh wow, look at that.
See?
Right above us,
See?
this huge tree leaf just fell.
See, we breaking in
So
reality.
we break
y'all.
it right.
We breaking through.
And I wanted to also just take a second. I never shared this with anyone or really talked about it, but I've been very much made to be very aware. About 15 years ago, when we first, I would say 20 years ago, when we first started doing stuff, we didn't expect to be like on the camera or be filmed. When we were in New York doing stuff, I didn't expect to be like the couple or the anything, right? So I say that to say I was not aware that we would be kind of used as an example of what not to do and what to do well. And I say that because a lot of women back in the day, like 15 years ago, would tell me, because I had some friends still around, this is before Amour, this is right when he started doing lectures, they'd be like, yo, when I hang out with you guys, all of the energy in my life switches up. My boyfriends are treating me different, my this is treating me different, and I never really took that into consideration, right? I was like, oh, whatever, you know, friendships, schmenships. I wasn't aware that they were trying to express, since being in your life, you guys have brought this energy to me, or this has opened up. I really was not aware that a lot of people that asked me,
What's up, buddy?
he calling for daddy, that asked me to be on
He
their
went first
show.
every time.
There, he's doing really well in class. To ask me to be a part of their show, I never knew that certain females might be flagged, or like their show gets shut down, you know what I'm saying? Or them, their like good friends be asked, you know, ask questions as to why they allowed us on their platform. I never knew that. But back in the day, a couple people kept it real with me and were like, yo, it's been a great opening ever since you guys shouted me out. You know, we've had a flood. The same goes for sometimes people that don't have certain metaphysicians or certain metaphysical energy on their shows. A lot of times it's a negation. They'll get flagged, or their show won't get as many sponsorships, or things of that nature. So I wanted to just thank people that have had me and Aseer on their show, because we try giving warnings and saying, hey, let me know if any energy shifts or changes. And I don't think people really always want to let us know those things, so it's a hit or miss. I'm very grateful for people that have pushed through and that have let us know, like, yo, since he was on my show, this happened, or that's like a really good friend, because they allow you to know how energy shifts, how when working with you, how things might shift. I can't gauge or never know what's happening to people that might have aligned themselves with us. So being made aware that like my YouTube channel and other things that I might have thought would grow didn't, because of certain flags or certain associations. People weren't letting me know, hey, I'm kind of supporting you because I want to, but I feel bad because now that I have, my Facebook page has been flagged, or my whatever. So I just thank people that have been strong enough to be in our lives in more than just like a work relationship, and letting us know how things might alter or things might change. And shout outs to Dr. G, who's gonna have Aseer on, and I on her show in a little while. We were on about a year ago, and I did try warning her, but because she's a little bit of an elder, I didn't think she would experience any of that. But I really am grateful for when a full circle is made and people can be like, hey, I want you guys back on, but I'm aware now of what your energy might shift or open up or reward me for or bring. So that's camera A. Camera B is, I just wanted to thank everybody for supporting Cordoba Organics. I've gotten a lot of questions the last couple weeks as to like why I'm not on Twitter, why I don't show here more, why I don't, and I'm gonna keep it ultra real right now. It's not something I can gauge with as much ease. You know, I don't have a company where we have like factory machines pumping out the products that I make. It's still just me. And of course, sometimes you would want like a celebrity to pay attention or somebody to go, look, let me help you with what you're doing because I see all the work that you're doing. But I didn't work for that to be my main goal. I didn't want to start putting myself out there and say, look, I need this person to recognize me and that person to recognize me. I just started, I didn't want to be in this thing, but the sun, I'm peeping and it's warm. So I'm expressing this to say, I really started my company because I didn't want to get caught up in lecturing or in doing what Aseer was known for. And I felt at a certain time in our life, especially I would say around 2000, 2002, 2004, is when I felt like a pressure to be a part of what it is, you know, he's excellent at, which is teaching in large crowds or lecturing in large crowds. In New York, you want to support and be there for someone, but what I recognize is New York was such a dog-eat environment that a lot of people took our energy as like weak or as like something that could be penetrated. So when I was 21, 22, I really stepped up in ways that I probably shouldn't have, just to like protect and make sure that our energy was on a certain vibratory plane, meaning I didn't want what he did to be merged with other speakers that I felt New York was really trying to align him with. So that was hard because a lot of people came out right before he started getting, you know, he started getting a lot more notoriety. And I think that a lot of that took place to not only cause some distractions, but to create a camera too, like, oh, he's known for this, but he's not the only one. Which is fine, you know, when you're good at something, it sometimes triggers people to want to do the same. So I realized that at that time in New York, it was really something that I wanted to make him aware of, and he was. But to say, look, if you decide to speak with this person, which is what everybody wants us to do, it's gonna kind of put you in that energetic frame. And I'm gonna be honest, I wanted to stay away from certain frames. And I'm thankful that my husband never fought me about that. We didn't really fight about anything, period, except for like stuff after. I would say like family drama and other things ensued. Our arguments never really had anything to do with how we were treating each other, but what we knew we could bring more to the table, or I would say like, I knew that the people that loved him had a love for him based on the work that he'd imparted in their lives and the knowledge he imparted in their lives. But I wasn't doing those lectures, so I didn't always feel it necessary to travel with him or to do things that made us look like a couple. But if I didn't do those things, now it would look like I somehow wasn't supporting. So all of that was to say I had to navigate without listening to the regular consensus or to what people wanted from me, right? To continue that story, in 2000 when I met Aseer, he had 2 children that were, Victory wasn't even 1 yet, and Aries was 2. I didn't know that in being there for him when he, you know, through that time in his life would create such a bond with him. We never had difficulties living with each other. I'd say like the first 3 months we met each other, we lived with each other. I told him, I don't want to be out there. I'm 22, I'm a virgin, and he's the only person that I felt that I could confess that to. And I kept it real in telling him, like, I don't want to be out there. I know you might have dealt with more than me, but if you're going to, just let me know so that I can make necessary arrangements, you know, with sex and stuff, you know, wear protection. But if you're not, then let's really think about where we would like to be in 20 years. Because I don't want to be out here. I don't want to date. Dating is like a nice key phrase to say, do you want to casually have sex with strangers? And I knew that that really wasn't for me at that time in my life, just based on everything.
Again? Excellent.
That's so cool. So, mind you, I got water today, and the vendor machine pumped out a Powerade. So, I'm not really into these with all the quinines and chemicals, but I figured you got this Powerade for a reason, and the water didn't come down. So, drink your Powerade, flush it out with some green juice and some chlorophyll later at night. But, again, stay a little light. Don't be so rule-oriented. So, I didn't know certain things because I didn't have any elders putting me on to game. I didn't know that supporting him through a lot of his baby mama drama was gonna put me on the antithesis of being like liked and supported by women, right? Right is right. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, or a child. If I see something kind of imbalanced and wrong and I can do something to help, I'm gonna do that. And at that time, his brothers weren't stepping up, his two blood brothers weren't, and it just made me feel like, yo, what's up with the state of black people that when we see somebody going through something, we almost want to alienate them or be like, look, brother, you know, I'm gonna pray for you, I'm gonna pray for you. But they're not there. Like, I'm gonna keep it so funky. This year, Amor turned 13. It was the first year ever, 12 years, that his mother, who's still alive, decided to call him and just, you know, oh, tell your son happy birthday. I didn't even know she remembered she had a grandson that was born in August. So now that she does remember, it was interesting to me, like, why now, after 12 years? Why is she reaching out now? And, you know, he was like, well, my daughter was here. Mind you, shout outs to Victory. That's even difficult to share because the first 15, she was with us for like 5-6 years. But then her mom kidnapped her. And this is what I wanted to talk about. Women that kidnap their children. When you keep your child away from their father, it's kidnapping. You are kidnapping them. It's a nice way of saying kidnap, you know. They're kidnappers though. And one thing that I got really good at in like the last 15 years is just listening to men that have gone through this experience. And it's horrific. I don't know what drives women to want to have a child with someone and then say, you know what? I don't like the way this guy's acting, so I'm gonna keep their child and just raise it on my own. I even looked at something the other day. This young boy, 20, his name is a young boy, this young sports player, 22. He married his baby moms because she was pregnant. She just sued,
You're talking about Brittany Renner.
Brittany Renner, yes. She just took this young man to court. He has to pay this woman $200,000 every month for the next 18 years. Now,
she didn't tell him she was pregnant. She wound up getting pregnant by him, not telling him. 2 weeks after she gave birth to the baby, she filed for child support on the nigga.
I thought she filed for divorce.
Same thing, child support and divorce on the nigga. But then there's old tapes of her talking about how stupid these NBA athletes are and are because they don't wear condoms and stuff. So any bitch that want to get her money up, all she needs to do is basically bone one of these niggas and you'll be set up for life. This hoe said this on TV, so I'm not supposed to. Again? My son just made it
really
like
well.
8, almost 9 times.
And do you see how he calls for his
Straight.
father? Because his father is the energy that he wants to have him
Excellent,
recognize as doing things well. That's not to get the women jealous or envious. He comes to me when he cooks. He comes to me when he wants a hug and some love. Like, we have to know that we all have
Everybody got a
roles.
role.
And it's not to want the role that the father plays.
The point is,
The father's
she
supposed
could
to-
code this dude, to put a pin in it. She could code this nigga. She basically is on tape, basically laying the blueprint of what she actually did. So what I would like to see
Why can't
is,
she be disciplined for that?
yeah.
Can
or
a
any of
judge
these-
come to his aid and say, wow,
No,
this young
because
man tried
men
his best?
Don't have rights
And that's what's sad.
when it comes to shit like that. They
I watched him go through it, and what was great about watching Aseer, he was able to get a lot of the child support shifted based on him having a nationality. And when the judge really, this is the thing that shifted everything. When the judge really never knew how these two women knew each other, Aseer never filled in those blanks. He never wanted to be disrespectful and explain to the court, hey, these two women know each other because I actually slept with both of them at the same time. And
We
at
were
the
in a
time,
polygamous marriage that we did a ceremony with, and we was married like that for almost 2 years. And then what happened was these women didn't want to do it. I mean, it's an old story. That's
It's
why I
old-
don't
they
be
didn't-
liking to even go through shit.
But
But
what
it's an
I'm
old
tell-
story, and these women basically put themselves in a position to now have to follow through for the rest of their life and act like the decisions that they made to inceptionize, in the inception of creating our relationship, and these children, they got to now incentivize themselves to act like that wasn't the case. And what I've seen ever since then is that they've been basically backtracking and basically in horrible situations ever since.
and I don't think any man can really support a woman who decides to not communicate with their son/daughter's father in over a decade. I could almost understand if the person was in prison. But when the person isn't in prison, they're not under arrest for anything harmful. I've met a lot of men, over 500 men in the last, I would say, 20 years, 300 to 500 individuals that have gone through having their child kidnapped.
'Cause I used to do like consulting services when I came out with the fallacy of family court to help brothers and sisters that was going through the same similar type of situations, because it is a generational anomaly that basically affected all the generations from, I would say, 1969 specifically up to 2012. That's when the whole cycle system of the deadbeat dad, the patchwork family, the baby moms, and all of this stuff started coming out, to the point now where you have women that straight having babies just for checks. Like, that's what they about. They don't have no love in their own
They
life.
don't think about the
They
child.
don't respect themselves. They don't respect their children. So they're willing to basically turn their little children, their wombs, into cash registers with niggas that don't know, niggas they don't know, you know what I'm saying,
Or
who may
still
actually
trying.
want to be in the child's
still
life.
trying to, like,
But
be
now
good
they
guys.
ransoming the child like a carrot in front of the donkey to keep them moving forward. And
to
this
keep that
society,
system filled.
and this society rewards these whores like that. Like, that's what they into. They into rewarding any woman that's willing to break and destroy a man. That's
or to
what the
allow
whole shit
somebody else to be a third party in their union.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't bring this up because Aseer needs to share the story. No, what it is that we don't talk about it. But this is something that's affecting so many people on a global scale, to the point that if it is going to take someone over a decade to communicate with someone, obviously they don't want to, and they don't feel any need to. And that's something that I think we as individuals wanted to respect in other people's decision-making skills. You have to respect where other people are, but in respecting where they are, you also can learn and say, look, this isn't something that I'm gonna do ever. This isn't something that I'm gonna participate in or want to be a part of. So, you know, for me, for instance, I am a big person in terms of principle and wanting to do things just based on them being correct and right. So I wasn't trying to support Aseer in my lack of support for women. It's just, I can't support women that think that it's okay to, Aseer, can you come back? To kidnap and to keep their children from their parents. And I've met a lot of single mothers that don't have to be single. They're just choosing to be. They're choosing to be single. I like you in the frame because it doesn't look like I'm dominating it. And I'm not. but visuals can tell a story. And I love that Aseer will get up and thing, but literally, his work, like I expressed, is always on the phone. So for me, I've worked in silence all morning from about 7 o'clock to 1. Then I made a little lunch. The point is, I also have to become aware of doing things like this, because if I don't, I won't talk at all. I'll just disappear into the background. I like my lane. I figured out my lane a while ago. And I was talking to him about this. The reason why I'm not on Twitter and all these other is because I can't gauge it. I can gauge, okay, my sales might go up 30%, but I can still get things out the same week that people place orders. I don't want for anyone to ever have to wait for more than a week. So if I'm on Twitter and I'm doing things in different, you know, I can't gauge how much that might grow my business. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to do in the future, but I also want to be prepared for that. And until someone steps to me to kind of like help me out with the factory or say, look, I see what you're doing and I have the money, you have the creativity, and I have the popularity. That's the only time I think someone might not feel like tested by me, is if they're really popular, they're really financially well off, and they don't feel as though I'm putting them onto something. They still feel as though they can contribute. Because just because I'm trying to take care of myself with the basics, doesn't mean that I'm trying to negate for having women in my life, or I'm trying to be the only one. No, it's just, if I see people not doing stuff that needs to be done in order for longevity, I'm gonna have to break away from my peer group. My peer group was a very lazy peer group. Very pretty women, very educated women that kind of like knew a lot of rappers, and they didn't work hard on themselves. They could align themselves with someone like a Brittany Renner and be taken care of. Not only am I a little darker, I'm a little smaller, a little shorter, I knew that certain things that worked for my girlfriends might not work for me. So I just decided to always work out, to always try to take care of myself, because I might not attract what my counterparts could attract.
Right.
And again, I just never wanted to rely on other people's talents or use them. So I said, whatever I can do on my own. But, of course, I'm not looking to blend in my kitchen forever. I just know that it's something that I can do well on my own, because that's how I started the business. And as much as I want to employ other people, until I'm in that type of a space to be able to do that, I need to remain humble and be so grateful to know that I am able to take care and buy little things that I wasn't able to do in my 20s and 30s. I'm able to do now. And those things mean more to me than popularity and being on everybody's blog. I don't need it. Sometimes when he's on stuff, I'll reject going on with him just because I don't want my orders to bump up the week. And I know, hey Celina, it's the summertime. It's your son's birthday. Take off for the rest of the day. Work from 7 in the morning to like 12 at night, not to 4 in the morning. Like, you gotta take care of yourself. The colds he got passed on to me. I got it. I'm just getting over my little hoarseness. And again, it's to be thankful for the lane you're in. Not to want to be in Rihanna's lane, in Beyonce's lane. I'm not those people. I'm never gonna have what they could have and the support that they're gonna get for an idea that I'm just not gonna happen like that for
I'm
me.
gonna have my support and how it happens for me. It's not about me reaching somebody else's level of excellence. It's about me reaching my own, in my own situation, my own cycle. So if I can be God and King or whatever in my own universe, my own structure, that's just as important. That's more important to me than me having to go to somebody else's site and do all that.
Or act like they're pop, you know what I mean? I think famous and popular people can know when non-famous are doing that. And I would never want to just be messed with because my popularity can bring, no, like it has to be a genuine link. Like, we both have to enjoy something under the sun, something dealing with something, you understand? So we don't siphon off of each other's energy like that. And I notice a lot of women might not care about those things, but I'm not a lot of women. So I have to always remember that I'm me, and that the things that I've experienced and have gone through, I trust very easily, and I'm very open. So I can't attract and have just anything around me. And I don't anymore. The same thing, regardless of certain peer pressure, don't feel like you have to become and do what other people see you doing. Let's stop kidnapping our children and keeping them. I thought about it. When his daughter was here a little while ago, it was the first time she could say, look, when I visited you guys at 16, that was the first time I saw you in over a decade. But I was only with you for 3 to 4 days, and when I went back home, I was punished horribly for it for like the next couple of years. We always wondered why we didn't really hear from her after that. And we did, but it was choppy. When we did, it was very choppy. And it wasn't until 22 that she was able to say, look, at 16, I was, you know, everything
They was
that
hating on me because I came out and got mad dark skin with y'all, and then
under
when I
the
went
sun,
home,
had new
you know,
clothes.
all my friends was like, oh, look how black you are, and all this other type of shit, because her mother put her in a situation to be able to only be around Caucasoids and people who would not big up her individuality, because she was raised with knowledge of herself. But naturally, when her mom's kidnapped her and decided to do what she's going to do, and then rope all of the other people around her to help do that, of course she had to go heavily into the Christendom and heavily into, you know, setting her up, leaving her with people that would make her wash her hands and feet with bleach and shit. Like, this the
Eating
type
a lot
of stuff.
meats, just to
This
spite
the type
her
of
dad.
stuff that she would do just to spite her. And then not only did this chick try to cuckold me into accepting her other child as mine, but if I'd have fallen for it, and if I'd have put myself in a sexual position with her, she'd have definitely pawned that kid off on me and
And
acted
that was
like.
what I was trying to have him do.
And
on
then
some
later,
dumb
when I
shit.
found out that
Like, just have
she
sex
wound up
with her.
having my so-called, at the time, my so-called best friend baby, and then won't even admit that he and that they did that. You see what I'm saying?
Child looked just like him.
It just
Same
really let
unibrow
me
and
know
everything.
how far people will go
To like not admit
to
anything.
create circumstances all to spite you because of what you did not perform for them. Because these blacks, these so-called brain-dead blacks, that's people
Yep.
who believe that they are color first, they will try to fool you and make you believe that they on to the same shit that you on just to get a piece of your genetics, so that way they could try to alter it and control it,
That's
and
what
then
she
try to
did.
throw it in your face and act like you had nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? But in the end, everything
It's so
comes full
covetous,
circle.
you know?
Because regardless of who or what, the intent that I incarnated my children with is still in them. And regardless of all of the satanic bullshit that both of their mothers and their
And
mothers'
mom.
families and these people tried to do, I'm still with the same woman that these children remember me with from when they was kidnapped. So I've been in a committed marriage longer than my mother, longer than my father, longer than my grandmother, longer than anybody in my family.
But it's not rewarded in our families at all.
But in that, what I'm saying
expect
is,
it to be.
because of that, nobody can tell me, especially some elders in my cipher, what it means to be in a long-term committed relationship, because none of y'all niggas did it. All of y'all niggas gave up. All of y'all niggas went into having sex with other people and destroying your marriage and your relationship and shit, and then blame the other person when you were the one that filed for divorce. You understand? Like, there's a statistic that says 70% of all divorces in the so-called black community is coming from the black female.
It is the women.
It's coming from the so-called black females. Now, I don't consider them so-called black, but again, if this is what they consider themselves, this makes sense, because blacks, African Americans, Negroes, Indians, all of these are words of art that were created to control the upward mobility of our indigenous original people. So when you subscribe to somebody else's understanding of how relationship, how child rearing, how husbandry
How
and
melanin
building homes
top-
is for your own community, and then you take your children and give it to them to teach them, there is no wonder why our community
Transferring.
is the way that it is right now. Why everybody in our community is so quick to jump into other people's community
And
instead of
get
building up their own
recognition.
shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
First time I was in New York by myself for a year was when Amor was like 10. And I felt he needed to go to school because, 10 years straight, just little stuff in learning appreciation and learning the value. That's when I called Daddy like 4 or 5 times a day from New York. And it dawned on me, like, I don't know how a woman can go through raising their child and not touch base with the person that they've created this life form with. That was the first. And the second thing I really learned was all the adults, all the elders that were in New York that I grew up with and kind of left for 10 years to come back, none of them were happy. All the women were overweight. None of the men seemed to be happy. None of them seemed to have sex.
These niggas was in all types of sex cults and bullshit.
It just made me feel like, wow, this is why no girls is inviting me to their house. No men. And I'm not even all of that. But I'm definitely in a better state emotionally and physically than a lot of the people that I grew up with. And I never did it to like outshine the 45-year-olds. I'm turning 45 in a year. There's nothing that except excitement for all of this. But I don't want to be with people that are downtrodden and that are heavy in their spirits and that are still holding on to, you know, trauma from loss and from... I went through all of that. I know how to, you understand? How can we let it go and just say, look, that was a chapter in the book, but it's not my entire story. So again, I'm so grateful because I had to be strong in knowing being with this man, you ain't gonna be no grandparents, no love from his uncles, no nothing. And they used to try to mess with my head.
And vice versa.
Yes.
And vice versa.
And
being with this woman, I ain't gonna have no grandmother or no mother-in-law or anything like that that's gonna be there to look out for her in situations. So I'm it. So I have to deal with it. You understand? Like, and when you,
I love you so much
accept that.
I used to say, sometimes you are the mother and the husband and the wife. And not all the time, but yes, it shifts. The energy shifts because I'm not running to no girlfriends or no auntie or no mommy when we have issues. I'm going for a walk and taking a bike ride because that's all that I had to work with. So
go ahead, baby.
No, please, add on.
Our grandmothers and grandfathers' generation, these niggas stay together regardless. So we are actually we actually have more in common with the people who were born prior to the turn of the century than the niggas that's born
30s.
in our relationship,
30s,
in our
20s.
demographic right now.
Yes.
I have more in common with people from the ancient world than I do with motherfuckers that
or like
walk
women that are
around
like
here every day.
75, 80. I get along really well with elders because there's...
We are closer, what I'm saying is that
Yes,
we
I'm
as
sorry,
a people,
baby.
consciously, we are closer in intelligence than people who live in 2100 BC than people that we are born around right now. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
that's an incredible...
I'm saying that a chimp, I'm saying that a monkey, right, today has more in common and more potential to raise its consciousness vibration by dealing with somebody from the past than somebody today. You understand what I'm saying? So there is no such thing as progress. In lieu of progress, we have progressives, right? These are a bunch of people who are neoliberals who want to put out this whole diatribe that we are somehow more advanced because we have shit like the internet. Or we have
no,
shit
it's just
like
access to
whatever.
listening and to hearing where people are.
Yeah.
Like that whole thing with, you know, people not bathing. This has been going on for centuries. But now with these devices, we can hear how many people really are practicing these certain things.
Again, our people are the people that
here,
brought...
I'm gonna go get him more today.
Our people are the people that brought bathing and soap as the yardstick of civilization to all of humanity, or to the people who are being brought into the human family from prior to being in a animal or pre-animal state.
And it's not to diss somebody, that's just facts.
It's what it is. These people in Europa were called the Woodwos or the Voodoo-wasa. The Woodwos, the Voodoo-wasa, the Wild Men.
I think of it as Voodoo-wasa.
These are the people here. And they were the ones who had to be taught how to bathe because bathing was against their natural inclination and culture because
come over here.
They do not have hair and shit the way that we do.
I was gonna hear it too.
So all I'm saying is, if you have to convince people, these are the people that y'all trying to procreate with. These are the people, original man, original woman that you trying to say, oh, well, I don't date black men. I don't date black women. So you date a whole race, you date people who actually don't bathe, don't brush their teeth, don't season their food, don't wash their food, don't wash their meat. This is who you trying to procreate with?
White rice.
This is who you dealing with? People gotta bleach their rice and shit to eat it?
Rinse it. You know how when you're making rice, some people just put the water.
Yeah.
I gotta rinse my rice for like
These
a
people
couple
don't
hours.
do none of that. And these are the people who own all the restaurants.
That's a little extra.
These are the people who.
How
are you?
Go to one or two places to
That's
eat.
what I'm trying to say.
Because I know what. They're too trusting. No, they're very trusting.
How are you telling me the edicts of nutrition and health and you niggas don't bathe? How are you telling me what good food and what food should be eaten and y'all niggas don't even season and cook your food properly? Like, this is what y'all don't do it. So how is it now you're trying to dictate to me how I should do it when my ancestors was the ones that taught y'all how to do it? So all I'm saying, brothers and sisters, is the fact that we need to stop being out here trying to follow what everybody else doing and start thinking for yourself, man. Stop being out here trying to be what somebody else say because you think that they better because they have lighter skin or whatever your hang up they gave you is, man. Start to have more confidence and believe in yourself. Stop striving to put everything else above what you know you need to be doing for yourself, for your children. Like, I understand we jump in, but it's the truth. I understand if somebody is abusive to you or abusive to your children or whatever. But again, most of the men that I have met over the past 20 years I've been doing this have been the total opposite of what these chicks are saying. And then on the other side, you have females now who also go through the same thing men do, right? Only difference now is she chose a deadbeat ass nigga, and now this guy is making it hard for her to live her life for her child because he just don't want her to live a better life because he's a piece of shit. So really, we're really talking about choices. We have to make better choices as to who we're choosing to procreate with, man.
And I think that we get those extremes, but when you're at that age or when you're raised by a mother that is only
single
raising
mothers,
you to be
man,
her
fucking us
protector
up,
or to be her boyfriend, like, you've got to understand that's difficult to break. That's kind of why his mom is real anti-me, because I'm the person that said, hey, as a woman, you don't talk to your child like about your child like that in front of a stranger.
You don't put nobody above him or her.
You don't
do
diss your child, especially if you love them. You don't diss your child in front of strangers. You just don't do certain things. And it wasn't until I got older that I started realizing maybe, like, you know, that abusive love, like that Stewie, and this, I love you, you're the best, it's okay. Like, that's not the way in which you raise your children in your families. You don't allow some of your children to call you one thing and then the others not to call you mommy. Like, these types of Willie Lynchism techniques, they must have worked in women across the globe, because a lot of these women are raising their sons and their children not to be aware of manipulation, mental abuse, emotional abuse, which means that they are the emotional abusers, the mental abusers, and the manipulators. And it's hard to have a mom. I never had that. I never had someone that was a manipulative, you know, jealous of my beauty type of person. So I don't know what that's like. But what I'm seeing and what I wanted to think is, if y'all are in pain from having your children kept from you and you don't know where to go or how to do, there isn't anywhere to go. There is nobody to help you. There's going to be a very few selected people that will even listen to your grievances or your heartbreaks.
Because nobody gives a damn what happens to men. Men are the problem, and they're trying to get rid of all men. They want all men to be women. They want all women to be men. In order for you to look like a strong woman, you have to be obese now. You have to look like a physically strong diesel dude for them to do that. And so this attack on men is also an attack on femininity. All of this fake women's rights shit is really about getting rid of women's rights and turning men, white males, into women. Because this whole agenda is being run by white males who are now trying to act like they're diverse because they have cut their penises off or they're choosing to be gay or whatever they're doing. There's no way that you can be down with the so-called LGBTQ movement and all of that, especially if you're in the trans side of it, without the medical association. So therefore, this is a creation of big pharma, big medicine, big tech, all to convince you that the way that you were born is not. Gender dysmorphia is still a disease. It's still a mental disease.
Yeah,
and
so is transgenderism.
It's still listed as a mental disease, gender dysphoria. That's what it's still listed as. So what you see
Something
now
is
is
off.
state-sponsored. You have state-sponsored psychosis now that is being used to engender the rest of us that are not with it. If you want to get vaccinated, cool, do that. But me not being that is not
A permission slip for you to create rules.
that, and it's not creating the disease in you, you idiot.
No.
You've decided to do all of that, so do that. But don't try to make it like if I don't do it,
There's some.
because what you're doing now is putting me in a position to coerce me. You're using coercion.
Mm-hmm.
You're using lies. You're using post-hypnotic
Emotional.
suggestion. Using emotional blackmail.
Duress.
You're putting me in a duress type situation to fulfill something for you that doesn't benefit me. Nobody
That's not
can
fair.
force you to put something in your body if you don't. If they do, they are trying to kill you.
And
And
that's
if
what
they are trying to kill you, you have the right to defend
Say no.
yourself.
And that doesn't mean you're an anti-vaxxer. You can just be a pro-lifer.
Yup.
Why do I always have to be anti? I'm not
Yup.
anti-nothing.
Because
I'm
these
for
people
people's-
don't understand
I'm
it
for
unless
peop-
it's dichotomy.
For people's decisions, pro-life.
Yeah.
That's it. If that's what you want to decide, I'm for it. I'm
that.
pro your decision. But I'm not here to negate or to stop anybody from making a decision that they may feel is beneficial to their growth
leave that shit
or
over
their
there with them.
family. But when you start to expect me to want to follow the same practices, now I'm going to have to step back and say, that's not what
No.
I practice.
No.
But good luck with you doing such.
Right.
Good luck with you doing so. And that's kind of why we're just not private, but have learned so much, because in over the past 20 years, make better decisions. Then why didn't you at 23 with the women? Because his mother didn't allow.
Nope.
And
Also
no,
at 23,
you
I was
believed,
still
You believe them.
that, and I
Yes.
accepted that these
That's
women
what you should be like when you have no guile.
were telling me the truth. But
Yes.
then also, there was no direct elder community that I felt comfortable enough to go
share.
to and ask for advice and ask
No,
for
because
permission.
they wouldn't want to use your
because
situation
these niggas,
as a means to pump their own
Because a
agenda,
lot of these
or be
elders-
jealous that you were in that situation.
Because
Yep.
the few elders that I
I
did go to
understand.
that were a part of some of these big things that were in the conscious community at the time, these niggas was hating.
I
These
know.
niggas was trying to make it like I'm like,
trying to do too much, and
Right.
they just need this.
oh
nigga, his
well,
pussy.
if that happened to me, I would be doing this.
But it
it's
didn't
like,
happen to you.
But it didn't happen to
And
you,
I'm
sir.
asking you
and
your
I'm
advice.
coming to you as a young dude
No, you
trying to
can't do
get
that.
wisdom. That's
No.
when I realized anything I know with this knowledge and this
Nah, you can't
all
do
this
that.
stuff, I got to get it myself.
yourself.
I cannot depend on these elder moors or these elder conscious community people to give me nothing.
And
You know
that
what I'm
can
saying?
be a little futile because we're trained to share and be vulnerable. And if you're not, then somehow you're traumatizing and you're holding it in and you're not expressive
Nah.
and something's imbalanced. No,
Nah.
that's not the case at all. Sometimes good is just here to really attract things that want to learn how to be good or that are just plain evil.
And these people
And
use
it's not your fault that you keep having happenstances that may test. Sometimes people can see potential, but not locate or pinpoint what they're hating on. But it's like, you know what? Let me just stay near this thing, just so it doesn't go too far out my grip, too far out my reach. Those are all friendly, haters that stay by you to make sure. But God forbid you get a little bit more.
They're just there to mark your
then they're
progress.
just exactly.
And
And this is
keep
what
you-
we were
keep
telling
tabs
his
on it.
daughter. I don't want any pictures posted in the world because I'm not trying to trigger your mother or make anyone feel. Obviously, things aren't well if this person still feels as though she can't have a conversation with someone in over 15 years. And it's not to motivate them to do so. It's just to say, wow, if Brittany Renner, these types of women exist, this is what's making men afraid to commit to women. Because when they do have a little something, why would I want to commit to someone who's just going to put me through hell, take me to court, kidnap my child?
And let me tell you, man, this ain't just American women.
It's sad, bro.
This is women all over the planet that's falling for this bullshit, and men keep putting them in positions to act like that's cool. I feel you, homie was young and all of that, and he should have known better, but again, he a
might
child,
not have.
and he was probably raised by a single mother who
love it.
probably did that shit. to his
Yes.
father. Like,
Yes.
you understand? Like, this shit
Yes.
just don't be coming out of nowhere,
And
man.
this is the karmic.
These are the ancestral curses
cycle
that we've been dealing with ever since
Yes.
we have been dealing with these people that aren't us. So if we circle our wagons and raise our families how we want to raise them, without the LGBTQP community, without the government, without the Boule or anybody else saying it, we would actually be able to do something. But the problem is, y'all niggas like people coming into your communities, telling you what to do, and then you leave your community instead of building it up and fortifying yourselves. So you get what you pay for. You get what you, with your
Put
hand,
out.
call for.
Mhm.
So if you don't
And
like
that's
that,
energy
excellent.
out, energy return. Hey,
You ready to go?
handsome.
More's here.
Yep. Okay, go ahead. He said he needed to use the bathroom, so I'm gonna wait a couple minutes.
All right, I gotta go get some water first.
Okay, we're gonna go. Before we go, I just wanted to thank everyone for listening, and again, all the testimonials, like when people, oh, do you do readings? I'm gonna keep it real. The only people that consistently, I say over 20 years, have asked me for a reading are men that go through this kidnapping and are a little bit disgruntled and don't know who to talk to.
Like the sisters need
It's
to
really-
come up
it's really
and
messed
create,
up.
like, they've created situations, black women organizations, Black Girl Magic, Black Girl this, Black
But
Girl
it's
that,
never
Black
Black
Girl,
Girl
Black
Kill
Girl,
the
Black
Black-
Girl, Black Women, Black Women.
No black men.
There's no black men, no black children. So what
No.
I'm saying is, again, we know that the term black and all of that don't exist. So me as a Moorish American or more, when I'm using this, I'm using
Pejorative,
this
but-
as a pejorative and placeholder for those people who may not even understand it the way that I'm talking
It could
about
still
it.
trigger people to be like, oh, she don't think she black. I can't mess.
So
I get
within
it.
that, we're
I get
talking
it.
about black
do.
when it comes to
I
status and the fact that
That status
they
isn't gonna allow
allow,
us to have
it's
anything.
not right, it's not going to allow you to own nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to allow you to upperly mobile the way you want, because you're the only people on earth that's still identifying yourself as a color. Therefore, you are not
And a pejorative.
reached you haven't
vibration.
reached the age of majority. Therefore, you're still a minor or criminally indigent. Therefore,
Age of
they rule
enlightenment.
over you through your so-called black leaders, churches, or whatever. And these been the same niggas selling you out for the past 200 plus years. So all I'm saying, original woman, is this: if you don't like what they doing to your children, if you don't like the situation, if you don't like the fact that they've mapped out a trajectory for you that says by 2040 all of y'all are going to be morbidly obese, and that the only in shape women are going to be Asians, Hispanic, and Caucasian women, because this is what has been laid out for you. So, and it seemed like Lizzo, Cardi, all these other people is out there actively promoting that for you to do that. This is the first era I've ever seen obese mannequins. This is the first era I've ever seen people try to shut down gyms. This is the first era I've ever seen people try to say that Lizzo is body goals for y'all. Like, this is damn near insanity. So if y'all
She
want to
might be
pump
body
that for
goals
money,
For some are bigger women, but we don't.
she's
need
a body. Her body go. It's not her body. It's her money. Because if she was not on TV like that, and she was not shaking her ass like that on TV, and white folk was not bigging that up, niggas would not give a fuck about her. So this has nothing to
It's
do
the same
with that.
hustle of people putting sold out on their products when
Yeah.
really it's just to get you to come
Just to
it,
get you,
or
exactly.
think that they're doing more than they are.
Everything's a
If
goddamn
a product
scam,
of mine
yo.
was sold out, I'd make more of it because that's what y'all like. That's what y'all
Exactly.
need. I wouldn't.
I'm
have
not gonna leave it.
I wouldn't have it sold out for 3 to 5 months, especially when you can make it.
It's all
Because
cap.
you know, okay, I need this, that, and the third. Let me get more because I'm noticing my sales going up with this one product.
It's all cap. I'm tired of seeing my
It's just-
sisters
it's
walk
a
down
lot
the street,
when
lumbersome, dying of hypertension and all this type of shit. And then what they're doing, they're creating children and they man. They trying to get their man and their children to
To
be
be into
just
the same
as
thing.
morbidly obese. That is
And it
not
worked.
how our people have been. That's only been in the last 20 to 40 years. You don't believe me? Go online yourself
You can look in
and
the
Google
70s.
Google pictures of people on the beach
In
from
the
the
70s.
1970s
To like 1965 to
from
1975.
1965 to 1975, and
Right
you see
before
for
I
your
was born.
goddamn self. There was not one obese person on them beaches, B. And if you did see one, you had to really look. So
Word.
again, this is another form of population control, another form of mind control, another form of
Chicanery.
thank you, fuckery to get you niggas to not fight back against the totalitarian rule that they're trying to impose on
And the thing
everyone.
is, you can fight back by being still. You don't have to fight back
Fight
with
back
this.
by eating healthy.
And just living your life
Fight
and
back
teaching your children.
by being healthy. Fight back
I like that I'm more uneven here.
by creating a better society for yourself and your children. Fight back by having more self-respect for yourself, that you don't want to see yourself be 400, 500 pounds at 5'3", okay? Stop entertaining other races above your own, black man. Be yourself above everybody else and see what happens for you.
It's easier for
That's
people
another
like Terry
broke.
Well, I can use certain people as archetypes for that type of thinking and mentality.
The perfect example
Terry
of a
Crews.
broke ass piece of
And
shit
he's got
house
a lot
nigga.
going for him, but
No, he don't.
Well, no, what I mean is money, family, all that.
See what I'm saying?
But he doesn't,
He
because
don't.
when someone is constantly
Bootlicking?
throwing,
Bootlicking?
see, I can't. This is why I can't take him nowhere. I'll be going with him. I'll be like, why he had to? Why people? Some people, oh, nice hat, brother. He immediately, it's not a hat, brother.
I say thanks. I give him
And
respect.
No, absolutely. What I mean is that don't come to certain people that you could tell just ain't putting stuff on and check them like they're playing Halloween, because not all of us wear costumes and are doing this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Also, shout outs to my husband. This is the first time he has worn his hair out in over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I have wanted to see. I get to see this in the house, but one day he got off the car last week, right before Moore's birthday, and I said, "Oh my God, his hair!" It literally dropped. I ran out the car and was like, "Yeah, hair, nigga." I could not believe, because I love that he's so consistent at what he does. Don't get me wrong. I used to be a little like, all of our friends are asking me questions. Maybe one day out the week we just pick a day that you still have your braid. He's like, no, fuck these niggas, fuck these niggas. So you gotta understand, when you married to an Aries person, you just let them rock. You support and you let them rock. I don't get into arguments with him, because when he's made a decision about something, that's it. That's the decision. There's no talking. It's not like, oh, you're with no, I'm with someone who made a decision and isn't gonna alter.
I was taught
don't
that
feel
men,
bad about people that are assertive or about what they say they're gonna do.
I was taught that men, when you say something, you gotta follow through with it. That's all. I wasn't from this new era where you could be a man and then be a woman and then be decisive and then be indecisive all at the same time. Like, I'm not from that era.
I don't even know. I just know. Don't do that with the Aries. Don't do it with the Aries, Scorpio. And the same thing, he said to me the other day, he's like, you know what? Our sun signs really don't get along, but our moon signs and our risings, we're like, he could be in a whole nother, and I could be like Xanu. And it's not because of anything other than me respecting his individuality.
Ditto.
And I didn't want him, of course I saw a certain thing, but I didn't want him to ever feel like a woman was trying to control or put. His mother and his baby moms wanted to do that. So my role in his life was just going to be supporting.
And to be a great woman, a great wife, and a great mother. And the best woman that I know.
We didn't even plan
in
on
my
all
life,
that.
and in my son's life, and in my children's life. And
consistency.
I wouldn't have been where I'm at if I didn't have somebody that came into my life and let me know that, one, I was not crazy, and two, that it's wrong. It's wrong for the things that happen to you and if nobody's gonna tell you that, I'm gonna tell you that.
I'm gonna tell you that.
And
sometimes, and it's okay for women to be jealous of men and vice versa, but it's not a one-way street. Men's beauty can be something that is coveted as well. Men and women. And females.
The
so
greatest
if you're a good-looking
gift that Allah has given man is a woman, and the greatest
gift a woman can get is a man. It's just the way it is.
That's it, man.
And I know I must have sounded stupid when I was 20, but now I'm like, yo, thank God I didn't need to watch a Kevin Samuels video in order to know this and to learn this.
No, because we read Shahrazad Ali books and all that shit back in the day.
And also
we was doing the knowledge.
And also we're just really humble and saying to ourselves, I think that a lot of our counterparts didn't find how to just be vulnerable and express what they wanted. I didn't know at 22, me saying, look, I'm not playing these games.
I knew.
I'm not doing it. So he said to me, no, I met you and you were a wife at 21.
And so real men know a wife when they see one. And then it comes down to you as a man to decide, okay, am I really going to be with this girl? Am I ready to be this type of dude. I'ma just be with this girl, be with this woman, and we're gonna ride the whole thing out. Like at the time, I knew that's what I wanted, but was I fully there yet? I don't think so. But I knew that I wasn't trying to see her with nobody else.
I'll wait around.
So therefore, I needed to get my shit together to keep it real, so that way I could be the best person for her, and vice versa.
And wait around.
And here we
like,
are.
You know, now or never.
So,
you don't give no man no ultimatum.
No.
You just don't. You don't give no man no
love
ultimatum.
yourself.
WW Cordoba Organics. That's
Word.
non-shea butter. And
Word.
again, I don't need all of. I just know, stay in your lane, be grateful, and if it's meant to be, it will. But stop going for the popularity and the numbers and all that when you don't even have the fulfillment in your heart and the joy outside of social media. Always have that, because I said to myself, they could take Twitter, Instagram, all of it away tomorrow. I'll still be good.
Half the population be done.
I'll still be good.
If they was to take that shit away
that's what I
tomorrow,
wanted
these
to
niggas
do.
would commit suicide.
So have a good night, y'all. I love you. Peace out.